What's going on, everybody? I'm back here today doing the Black Ops 6 Easter egg for Shattered Veil. It's been a while since I've actually uploaded, or since I've recorded anyway, because my Elgato has been a little on the fritz. So, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you guys do, I would greatly appreciate it if you guys hit the like button, or that subscribe button, or if you guys dislike the video, hit the dislike button. It's all the same, it helps you find a place in the algorithm. Without further ado, let's hop into it. So before we actually hop into the Easter egg itself, we have to start with our loadout and what we're going to bring into the match. So I recommend using the Kilo 141 as it has a very fast fire rate, especially with double tap, has very high output damage and high mag capacity while also being able to be mobile. This is the loadout that I actually used, so if you guys want to, you can pause the video here and then copy the loadout that I have. The next thing that we are going to need to do is we are going to make sure that we have Ether Shroud equipped, as you are going to need this for a step in the Easter egg. After you have Ether Shroud, you can make sure that you have 2 charges for it by using augments. You're also going to want to make sure that you bring in a combat axe, and for your tactical, you can bring in whatever you want. I'm not going to be using any gobblegums in this run, just to show that it is possible to do without gobblegums. But now let's go to augments. For augments, you are going to want to have Dying Wish on Quick Revive, just so that in case you go down, it will protect you from that, and then you won't have to rebuy all your perks when you're doing the setup phase for the actual fight. The next thing you're going to want is Vulture Aid with Parting Gift, and you're also going to want Condor's Reach. This is going to make it so that you will be able to get more ammo back for Wonder Weapons, aka the Ray Gun Mark II, and you're also going to be able to pick up salvage and ammo just from a greater distance. The next thing we are going to want is PhD Flopper, and you're going to want the augment for PhD Slider and Tribologist for this. This is going to make it a lot easier to move around in the boss fight, because during the end, he is going to be a very fast boss, and you want to make sure he does not catch up to you, and that's going to be your means to do it. And the other thing, you're going to want Double Tap, where you're going to want Double Standard and Double Time. You don't need Double Time, but Double Standard is very good to have, especially for the boss fight, making it so that you will do double damage to the boss, even though you are not hitting him in his critical spot. Now, with all these things out of the way, let's hop into the match. Now that we are actually in the game, what we're going to do is turn around in the spawn area, and there's going to be a tomahawk right here. You're going to pick that up, as you are going to need 2 of them for later in the Easter egg. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to be running around the map, trying to get toward Pack Punch, which is pretty easy, as it does lay out for you where you have to go. But on the way there, what you're going to want to do is look for these very small white boxes, as you can see right here. You're going to shoot them to then break them open, and then you're either going to be rewarded with 1 of 3 items, 1 being that salvage that you saw, 2 being a vermin, or 3 being an essence bomb, which is something that we need for later in the Easter egg. One thing to keep in mind is there are a lot of these boxes throughout the map, and I mean a lot of them, so it is going to be random as to which one actually drops the bomb. As you can see right here, I actually get the bomb to drop, and this is what it looks like. All you gotta do is show your friends what the box looks like that you're breaking, and then as they go around, they can also help look for the essence bomb. Now, after you've actually obtained the essence bomb, the next step is going to be working on getting a Ray Gun Mark II. There is a Easter egg that you can do in the map that I'm going to show you here to get a free Ray Gun Mark II for absolutely free, costs nothing, and is decently easy to do. So what you're going to want to do is come back down into the SAM room on round 10, and you're going to be looking for a Procurer Zombie, which is going to be a lab technician. You're going to kill the lab technician, and it is going to drop a floppy disk. Keep in mind, the lab technician is a normal zombie, but he has a special name, and that's how you can verify that is him. And then, as you can see right there, there is the floppy disk that we need. Now, after you've obtained our floppy disk, we're going to come over here to this computer. As you can see, if you are in the dinosaur room right here, you just go through this right door downstairs, and then it is actually going to be right in this corner where you can interact with it. What's going to happen is there are going to be a couple of vermin that spawn, maybe 10 of them total. You're going to kill all of them, and then you're going to come back to this piece of paper right here, and it is going to have a code word written on it. Now, as you can see there was one word that was in all caps. Our word was moth. So moth is going to be our word that we are going to use to make into numbers to then get a code for a locked door. So what we're going to do is we're going to make our way over here, and we're going to look at the letters. And as you can see, M is there by itself, so that is 1. Up there has a O, which is going to be 6. And then T is below it, which has 7. And then up top is H, so our code is going to be 1676. So then, after we've done that, we're going to go and make our way back down to the SAM room, and then right behind where you come down on the zip line, or not behind where you come down the zip line, but if you keep going past SAM, you're going to see a locked door with a doppelgast behind it, and you're going to input our code, which is going to be 1676, which is going to be different for everyone in every game, so just keep in mind your code is going to be different from mine. But as you can see, we make our way to the back of this room, and there's going to be a little number pad on the wall here. We're then going to input our code of 1676, and then the door is going to open, and then he is going to be sent after us, along with a couple of the toxic exploding zombies. So what we are going to do is just kill him, mow him down, and then after you are done killing him, he is actually going to drop you a severed arm. Now, after you actually obtain the severed arm, what you're going to want to do is to come into this room over here, also known as the armory, which is right down by that portal. If you keep going down past the SAM room, you will see. And then there's also a white box there that you can check for that essence bomb that I mentioned earlier. And then put that arm on the code over there, the little fingerprint scanner, and then you will obtain a ray gun Mark II. So now that we have a ray gun, the fun can really start to begin. So now what we're going to need to do is look for a total of 3 canisters. One canister can actually be found hidden up here in one of these little blue things. I'm actually going to show you all 4 locations that it can spawn, and then you are going to go around and shoot them with the ray gun, and then it will explode. And then luckily for me, as you see here, I got my canister first try, but there are multiple around the map that can house a canister. So that was one of the locations. Another location is actually in this room, which is where you actually put the code or the floppy disk into the computer. The third location is actually going to be right outside of the room where you deciphered the code. Right there is where you decipher the code, and one of the areas is right up here in the corner. And then the last area to decipher the code is actually going to be all the way by Quick Revive near spawn in the garden, where you can then look up and shoot that, and then that is all of the locations. If you shoot all of them, you will guarantee to get the canister that you need. There are 2 other canisters that we need to go for, but before we actually do that, what we are going to do is we are going to start the upgrade for one of the ray guns, which is these plants. So these plants are located all around the map. There are a total of 4 of them that will spawn, and you have to shoot them with something that does explosive/fire-based damage. So for me, since I already have the ray gun Mark II, the ray gun Mark II will work. Even if it's upgraded, it will work. But if you are using a special variant of the ray gun, it will not work. What I mean by a special variant is one of the upgrade quests that you can do to get a modified ray gun. So make sure that you shoot it with a ray gun that's either packed or just not upgraded, or you can just throw Molotovs at it. It will cry like that. Another location is also in that corner for this area, and that is going to be one of the seeds that we need. The next location that I found mine is actually going to be in this little room right here, and it's going to be in the corner. Again, there are multiple spawns around the map, so just have your team or you just be looking out for them at all times. There's actually going to be another one decently close to this one, down here, right off this ledge, behind this tree right here. And then, again, we're going to shoot it, and then we're going to pick up another seed. There are 2 other spawn locations that they could be down here, one being in this corner, and then one being in the opposite corner right over here, just in case you guys couldn't find yours. And then if you go all the way back to Quick Revive, I found my last seed spawn all the way over here, right next to this fountain near Quick Revive, which we are then going to shoot, and then we are going to pick it up again. Now, that is all the parts for one upgrade, but let's start working on parts for another. One of them is actually going to be here inside of this fountain. As you can see, I got one of the reflectors, and the second one is actually going to be right over here outside of the room that we decoded the word moth to get our code, which is going to be inside another one of these little fountains. Now, all we need is 2 canisters. One canister is actually in this, so what you're going to want to do is look right here at that letter, which is going to either be A or B, but for me, it is B. So what we're going to then do is make our way behind the door that is near Sam, and we're going to go back here, and there's going to be 2 valves on this thing over here. We're going to throw our first tomahawk, bam, and then it's going to turn. You're going to want to give it a solid second just to make sure it registers, because if you do it too fast, it will not register your second tomahawk. So now I'm going to aim up my second tomahawk and hit B because it is in B, and as you can see, it explodes out. and you will know when you've done this correctly, because if you go back to that little chamber that was over here, you will see that it's completely engulfed in gas. Now, you need something with fire to actually damage it, whether that be the ammo type for napalm burst that you can use, or if you want to be cheap about it like I am, you can follow where I'm going to all the way back to this dinosaur room, and in the top right corner right here, there is going to be a Molotov that we can use. Now just bring the Molotov all the way down to the bottom of the elevator, look at that thing full of gas, and then you could just throw your Molotov directly at it. It will explode, and a canister will pop out. Now, for the next canister, it's actually very easy to get. Matter of fact, it is the easiest one to get, because all you have to do is come walk this way, and then as you can see here, around this truck, there's going to be a dead guy with a Casimir in his hand. You're then going to pick up this Casimir, and then you're going to go to the opposite side of the double tap machine right here, outside of the elevator, which you are then going to jump over this, and then you are going to be able to throw it down and then pull out a canister. Now, after this Casimir is done going off, you will be able to pick up the canister, and then congrats, you now have all the canisters that you need for all of the upgrades to the ray guns. Now we're going to actually start upgrading the ray guns, and we're going to be starting with the least desired variant, which is going to be the marksman variant. You're going to put the canister in this little machine, and then you're going to hold the interact button on one of these little tanks, and then what's going to happen is it's going to start spawning zombies with purple eyes, and those zombies are going to hard target that plant. Basically what's going to happen is all the zombies are going to cluster you, and they're going to try to destroy the plant. All you have to do is let the plant grow, so you can just wait and just wait and just wait, and then eventually it will bloom into full size, and you can tell it's done when your progress bar goes up. As you can see, our progress bar has filled up a little bit, meaning that we have successfully done this plant. So now this one is fully grown. Now we have to move to the next one, which the next one is going to be right on the other side, right near where we placed in the canister. We're then going to repeat this a total of 4 times, and then eventually we will get it done. As you can see, we put the second plant in this little thing right here, but the next one is actually going to be right here, next to this little trap. And then after that is actually going to be down here, right near Quick Revive, where after we are done, we can then pick up our canister. Now that we have obtained the canister, we can then come back all the way to spawn, where on this right hand side here, you're going to see a machine, which you can then slot in your canister, and then you can upgrade your ray gun. However, I do not recommend doing this yet, as we still have 2 other ray guns that we need to do. The next ray gun upgrade is actually going to be down here in the little catacomb tunnels, where you're going to take that essence bomb we got earlier from one of the white boxes, and we are going to blow open this little barricade here. We're then going to work our way down, and there's going to be a giant statue down here, and in the back of the room, there's going to be a spot where you can place a canister. What you're going to do is you're going to want to place down the canister, and then we are actually going to look at those little reflectors you got earlier, and they're going to be used to bounce this beam around the room to the statues. Now that I'm done thinning the herd, so to speak, I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to interact with this, placing down one of those little reflectors. I'm then going to come over here to this one, and then place down another one. And then what it's going to do is you can see that it is going to the statue, and then you're going to melee, not with your melee weapon, because your melee weapon will not work on this, but you're just going to punch that little glowing rock, and then it's going to summon a little special zombie. You're going to kill him very fast, because you already have the ray gun Mark II. Even if it's not upgraded, it's going to do a lot of damage. So next thing that we're going to do is we're going to need to direct the beam to another statue. As you can see here, if you punch this one, it does not matter. No matter what, it is not going to find a new statue to go to. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to go back to the first reflector, and we are going to punch it once, which is going to move it, and then we're going to pick up the other reflector that we placed down, if we can see it, because it's a little hard to see here. But you're going to go back, pick up the reflector, and then you're going to go in this little room to the side, and then you're going to go up top and then place down the reflector. Then you are going to punch it once, and then you can go back down and melee that crystal again, summoning in your special zombie once again. And now that we've killed 2 of them, there is going to be one last one, and all you have to do is melee that thing reflector, this one more time, and then it's automatically going to be on the last one, which is actually going to be an elite special enemy. So he's not going to be that bad to kill though, because I mean we have a ray gun, so it really doesn't matter. Melt him real quick, and just like that, you can go into the back of the room, and then you can pick up the other canister. Now this canner can specifically be placed down right up here, which is going to be past double tap right up into the room where you got the motherboard to turn on the elevator, right here in this corner. Hold your interact button, and then you can craft the ray gun, but once again, I highly don't recommend doing it yet. The third and final upgrade for the ray gun Mark II can actually be found right over here. Just interact with this right here, and then what's going to happen is you're going to see this big guy spawn. You're going to need him to zap these rocks. As you can see, this rock is glowing. There's also this small one over here. And then after he has zapped a rock, you want him to charge into it. Once he charges into it, it's going to start floating. And then once you get all three done, you will be set to start the next step. It can be a little iffy, especially if you are doing it with multiple people, because if you do it with any more than a solo, 2 of these are going to spawn, which sometimes can be a pain if you're trying to hold a zombie while doing this, as I am, because again, the electric beam can still hurt the zombie, so you want to try to make sure it does not kill him for what's coming up. After this Mega Abomination has actually shocked every crystal and charged into all of them, what's going to happen is going to be somewhat a sort of a mini lockdown. So what's going to happen is a lot of parasites are going to spawn, and you have to protect this center of energy from getting depleted. So basically you just want to have it hit 100%, so just look out for any vermin that you see and then shoot them. The vermin aren't that bad, especially if you get it done on an earlier round than I did, because as you can see here, they're actually turning into parasites. But if you do it early enough, it will be fine, and it's really not that difficult to actually get down. Just try to body block if you need to, just so they don't get in, because if one gets in, it will actually take about 20% of total percentage down, which that is just a no-go. So just keep guarding it, and then once it hits 100%, you have finished this canister, and you can now move on to ritual steps. But before we do the ritual steps, we are going to come over and grab this last canister of explosive essence, and then we are then going to go down to the armory where we got the ray gun in the first place, and we are going to, across from there, slot this into this machine. Now that we have all of the ray gun upgrades in hand, we can now start the individual rituals for each one. So the first one we're actually going to work with is going to be the marksman variant, which is in spawn, because this is the weakest one, and we just want to get this one out of the way as soon as possible. So what we're going to do is we're going to make our way back to spawn, and that little upgrade bench that we had before is now going to finally be put into use. So what we're going to do is go up with our ray gun held out, we're going to hold the interact button, and it's actually going to craft us another variant of the ray gun. This ray gun is a marksman variant that shoots a single slow shot, but it does a lot of damage. In my personal opinion, it is by far the worst one that you can use, which is why we want to just use it to get it out of the way, to not use it ever again. So now that we have a ray gun variant in hand, we are going to come past this dinosaur room, go down to the bottom right hand door, and then we are going to keep going, and there is going to be a machine next to a painting. We are then going to hold our interact button with it while having this ray gun. You have to have this ray gun, whoever is doing it, and basically what's going to happen is zombies are going to spawn, and it's going to be a soul box. So we're going to kill zombies, fill the soul box, and then after it is complete, it is going to open a little portal that we can then go through. After the portal is opened, we are going to be able to jump through it, and then that is what you need to do for the next step. Just jump in and then jump right back out. After you've done this, now we have to work on finding 3 parts for this man that has lost them. So there are a total of 3 parts that we need for this, and there are a total of 6 spawn locations. So I'm actually going to go to the first spawn location, which is going to be somewhere on this little shelf right here. So you're going to Ether Shroud, and then you're going to look for the item, and it is going to be glowing blue. Clearly, we don't see it back there, so then we're going to go to the next spawn, which is going to be right over here, which, as you can see, we see. And there's actually going to be another area that can spawn, which is right here for another location. So just if you are fast, you can actually get all of them if you have the extended Ether Shroud, but that's not necessary because you'd rather have 2 charges than 1 very long charge. So that was one of the spawns for one of the items which was there, and over on this shelf again is one of the spawn locations for one of those parts. Now, the other parts is going to be this spawn location, which you saw me pick up, and then there's also going to be another spawn location for that specific part on this right in front of the picture. Now, we have two of the parts, but we need one more, and this is why we want two ether shrouds. So there, it's going to be two fireplaces, and this is actually where it is. But if you keep going all the way down into the room with the elevator, there's going to be another one that you can get. And again, it does persist slightly after Ether Shroud has ended, so you could still find it if you run fast enough. But the final spawn is actually going to be right here in this fireplace, and that is going to be all three of the parts that you need. Now, after grabbing all three of these parts, you have to open the door in an order. So I click this one. All right, this one is a good one. I click that one. It doesn't glow blue. That is a bad one. So we know the first one is this one, and then we know the second one has to be this one because it wasn't the other one. And then there's only one left to push. We push the final one, and then this little door to the left of it will open, and inside is going to be war plans, which you need to start the first ritual. So rituals are basically mini boss fights where you are going to be fighting a special type of elite enemy. So I'm going to kill this zombie and hop in here so I can grab max ammo. But right here, you're going to hold to interact, and it's going to place the Sentinel artifact down. After you have placed the Sentinel artifact down, a zombie of elite status is going to spawn into the room. So for this one specifically, we are going to be fighting an amalgam. Now, it is very important that you have the variant of the ray gun that we started with. So for this specific room, we need this yellow variant of the ray gun. If you don't have it, you will not be able to damage him. So as you can see here, he has a shield, but the shield can be broken by whoever is wielding this ray gun. So it is best to just keep the ray gun with you at all times until this is completely done, and then after it's completely done, we can get rid of this thing. But just make sure you beam him down, and other people can do damage to him, but you are going to be the only one, whoever has this ray gun is going to be the only one that can actually break his shield. Once he's dead, he's going to drop a max ammo. You can then run over, pick that up, and then you can grab the Sentinel artifact, and then that is one ritual done out of 3. Now, the next ray gun variant that we are going to use is going to be the purple one. The purple one turns the ray gun into a shotgun-like weapon, which can be very strong, especially for mowing down hordes. However, it's still, in my opinion, not the best one. This is the second best, but either way, we need it to start this next step, which is going to be the same as before. We're going to hold interact on this little computer in here, and then it is going to start another soul box, kill all the zombies, fill up the soul box, and then once again, you are going to want to jump into that portal. Now, after you jump into this portal, you are going to be looking for a red bottle of wine on the table. As you can see, I find it right here. I pick it up, and then I leave the room. Just be careful when leaving the rooms, because zombies do jump into it, and they like to hoard around it. As you can see, I almost actually went down here. But after we've picked up the wine, what we are then going to do is make our way over to this chalice right here. You're going to interact with the chalice, and it is going to spawn a disciple. And there are going to be a total of 3 of these that we need to kill. So that was going to be number 1. The second one is not super far from here, which is going to be in the giant dinosaur room at the far end on top. So we're going to then go up here. We're going to hold to interact again with this little chalice, and then it is going to spawn a second one. We're then going to kill him. Very easy, especially when you got this shotgun version of the ray gun. And then we are going to make our way all the way back to spawn, where there's going to be a final chalice under this little bridge right here. End up killing the last disciple, and then you can make your way back to the elevator room. Now, with all 3 disciples dead as dirt, we can then come all the way back over here to the elevator room, and if you look on the walls, there are now going to be a set of numbers. There's going to be number here, here, and here. So ours is 07 17 41. So we're just going to remember that code, and then we're going to run up these little staircases over here, and then after we are up these stairs, you're going to make a left, and there's going to be a safe right here that needs a combination. Well, that is our code, 07 17 41. But remember, it is going to be different in every game, so just bear that in mind. After you open the safe, you're actually going to pick up the item that's inside, and then you are set to start this ritual, which is going to be in that portal that we just opened in the purple area. So we are going to then come back into this room down here, and then we are going to put down the ritual, same as before, except this time it is going to be a disciple variant. So keep in mind, again, you need this purple variant of the ray gun to crack his shield to be able to do damage to him. So just keep that in mind when you are doing so. And also be careful of the adds that he spawns, because he does spawn a lot of vermin, and also just regular zombies will be flooding the room. So just be patient, wait for it to start, and then the second it starts, just beam them down. It's relatively fast, especially if you're standing on the table. Just keep in mind, it will have a couple of seconds where he's going to be immune, but any second he will be broken, and then there we go. We can just do a little bit more damage to him, and then just like that, he is down for the count. We can pick up our max ammo, and then after our friend over there is stuck into the Sentinel artifact, we can then take the Sentinel artifact and then move on from here.
You didn't tell Sam I contacted you.
So after being done with that last ritual, we can then come over to this blue variant, which we can then craft to make what I believe is the best variant of the ray gun in the game. It basically turns it into an SMG with very fast fire rate, so it is very good for mowing down hordes and just putting out a lot of DPS at once. But after we've picked up this, we can then come into the room where we go down the elevator, and then there's going to be a little lampshade right here. Now, after we've picked up this lampshade, we are then going to make our way all the way back to the dinosaur room, where you will see there is a lampshade on the wall, and there is a hole on the side of it where another one can be placed. We're then going to place this one in, and then what's going to happen is it's going to play a little game of Simon Says with us. So as you can see, I'm going to place it in, and then it is going to start a little game of Simon Says. It's only 3, so it doesn't really take all that long, but as you can see, it wants 1 on each side. We do 1 there, and then we do 1 on the other side. And then the last one is going to be there, there, there. So we are going to go left. We are going to go right. And then we are going to go left. And then this door will magically open. Now, once down here in the cellar, it's going to be the same as before. Take out your blue variant of the ray gun, hold your interact button, and then you are going to need to kill zombies to collect souls to then open the portal once again. So we are going to do this, and then once it is filled, we are then going to hop in, and then we are good to just hop directly back out. But remember, you have to make sure that you hop in the portal at least once to progress.
I'm a crowd pleaser. Stand me up.
Now, this is where a lot of people steer wrong. So one thing that we are going to need on our bullet weapon, which is going to be our kilo, we are going to put on brain rot, because we need brain rot on this to make this work. Next thing we are going to look for is actually going to be a bell. Now, this bell is very hard to find, and I'm going to show you the 3 locations where it can spawn, but keep in mind, this spawn is very tricky, and if you can't find it in my video, I highly recommend looking up another video just to find it. But if you do find it, consider hitting that like button, or maybe even that notification bell while you're at it, Just think about it. So there are going to be a total of 3 spawns for this. It's going to be a bell that we are looking for. You're going to want to shoot out these little cabinets here, and then you're going to want to hold the interact button. As you can see, I did not get the bell. So what we are going to do is we are going to then look toward the next location, which can be inside these, which we are going to make sure. I think I just got a Discord notification. Ignore that. So we are going to then hold our interact button on these cabinets. And once again, I could not find the bell in these locations. So there is one final location that you can look. So as you can see, I walk in and hold interact right here, but then I noticed that one of the spawns is actually right here, which I got, which was right there on top of this little china cabinet. Just get the bell, and then what you're going to do is you are going to want to make your way up into the dinosaur room where we got that Molotov earlier, and there is going to be a little drinking area, a little bartender spot. So what you're going to do is you're going to run up to it and hold your interact button, which is then going to place down this bell. Next, we are going to need a brain rot zombie, so we are going to need one that is turned. So we're going to wait for this zombie here, and we're going to hope that we can turn him, which we will see, which, as you can see here, unfortunately, I do not get, so I have to wait till next round. But just be patient with it, be careful, because this is also a very dangerous spot to be, because you are basically completely cornered. So just keep going until you get a brain rot zombie to spawn. Now, as you can see here, we are lucky enough to get one of them turned, which I then ring the bell. I pop my ether shroud to make sure, but again, keep ringing that bell, and the zombie's going to come over. Do not get in between the zombie and the wall, because if you do, he can push you into a death barrier that will kill you. So just be very careful about this. But as you can see, he will then drop this little flask right here, and then you can then take this flask into the room downstairs, and then you can start this ritual. This ritual is basically the same as before, except this time it is going to be a mangler. The only downside to fighting the Mangler is there are going to be a lot of parasites that also spawn in down here, and they can corner you easily. So just be mindful to take out a couple of ads that show up, but otherwise just focus him and you will be fine.
Who's next? Any takers?
I don't. You look so swell.
Sound and fury ain't enough.
And just like that, he is down, and we now have the last ritual done for the Sentinel artifact. You can now pick it up, and now you can proceed with the boss fight whenever you are ready. I just recommend that you have your Ray Gun Mark II, preferably the blue variant, because I think it's the best one, but I recommend that you have it packed to pack 3, and also the Kilo, you're going to want to have it also gold and pack 3 as well. This can take a little bit of time, obviously, but as you go on the round, it will be fine, because you will have enough points. Just make sure that you also grab a chopper gunner for just safekeeping. You don't need to use the chopper gunner against the boss fight, however, it can help with it. You don't need it, I actually don't end up using it, but it is just nice to have in case to get you out of a spot if you're cornered, and you can just pop it and then do a lot of damage to the boss. So, after you have everything fully set and you are fully ready, you have the perks you want, you have your guns leveled up, as soon as you're done with that, you are good to then come down to this little SAM room down here and then hold your interact button, which is then going to kick you into a cutscene.
Thank you, my friends. This means so much to me. Therefore, it is awkward that you will not see the conclusion of my mission. I regret I could not tell you the whole truth. Please understand, humans, well, a human has not been kind to me. But I wish you no harm. So I am sending you somewhere safe, where you cannot interfere with what comes next.
You idiots gave us the Sentinel artifact, didn't you?
This has been a long time coming, McTuffin.
Yes. Yes, it has. A whole decade. 10 years since my wife and child were killed in a botched hit intended for me. Burned alive in a fire set by an inept, one-eyed CIA assassin. With help from his German accomplice.
My God. Maxis and I. We killed your family. You knew. The whole time we were working for Requiem. You knew.
It's why you were handpicked. Kept where I could see you. Kept under my thumb. At least Maxis proved useful. Everything I have done. Requiem, Project Janus, Sam, all of it, just to fix your murderous fuck-up and bring Mary and Samuel back from the dead. And now, you have lost the one thing that can actually do it! With this device, Josiah Shem accidentally shattered space-time. I used it as the basis for my technology to access liminal spaces so we could feed the artifact. Now, you can either use that to get your petty revenge, or to get us the hell out of here.
Now, this boss fight is not too difficult. I actually think it is one of the easier ones compared to Terminus, where, I mean, they just have one-shot mechanics that will just instantly one-shot you. This one does have some annoying gimmicks to it. For example, one of them being he is going to spawn a lot of those gas zombies, and when you kill them, obviously it's going to be a little rough because you can't run over that area. He is also going to be shooting down little pools of gas, like he just does here, and those pools of gas will damage you and slow you as you go through them. So what I recommend is if one is in your way and you have to get through it, what you want to do is PhD slider through it, because then you will not get a movement penalty. So he has 4 total phases, and he is going to be decently slow for the first 2 phases, but then after you hit the 3rd and then 4th phase, he is then going to get a massive speed boost. So his weak point is his eyes, as you can see here. As you shoot him, I'm doing like 6,000 damage, which isn't bad, but his eyes are going to be his main weak point. You can see a couple times I'm doing 24,000 damage to him, and that's actually because when he comes across those toxic zombies in the way, he will end up swallowing them, and when he does, you can see them stuck in his stomach. If you then shoot them, it will be a great way to do a ton of damage very fast, so keep in mind of that. But another good thing to keep in mind is if you are playing with multiple people, make sure you know at all times who he is aggroed on, because whoever he is aggroed on, you're going to want to be, for the most part, staying away from them, because he can not one-shot. If you don't have Jug, he can one-shot, but otherwise he is going to be launching people all over the place. He can hit you with his tail if you're too close behind him. He can chomp at you and send you flying. He can jump on you, which will then again launch you forward, and if you get launched into a pool of acid where you're slowed, it's basically an insta-kill for him. So just watch out and make sure that you are not near whoever is currently being aggroed, and whoever is being aggroed can mainly run, especially when you're in the later phases. But otherwise, that's basically it. I mean, the boss fight really isn't that bad, and keep in mind, if everyone on your team has a chopper gunner, you're going to be doing massive amounts of damage to this guy, even with the chopper gunners. Not fully enough to clear a phase, but enough to do a majority of a phase. But overall, a majority of this fight is really easy. You really just have to keep your distance from him at all times, which if you can do that, you're in the clear. Again, that's why PhD Slider is so good, because normally running, I don't even think you can really outrun him. So again, just be mindful of PhD Slider, and also keep in mind that you have your minimap on your top left. If you have it enabled, you can also disable it, it's all the same. But either way, it is going to be a very good way to make sure you have eyes on where he is at all times. But with that being said, that was this Easter egg, and in a second, I'm going to show the ending cutscene, so I'm going to stop talking.
If I was the one fighting a giant undead lizard, I would be grateful for one of those.
Thank you, Major. Fuck you. Fair enough. We're not friends. We never will be. But we are running out of time. The ether reactors at Janus Towers must be close to melting down by now. Worse, I know what Sam really intends to do with the Sentinel artifact.
She said she wants to bring back Maxis.
No. Sam wants to be Maxis. To reconstitute and inhabit her body. She would have full control of the Dark Ether. Godlike power. She can still be stopped, but our window isn't long. So what's it going to be?
I trusted you once, and look where that got me.
I don't trust you at all. But a machine wearing Maxis' face, I'd die before I let that happen.
Okay. You got a plan?
Always.
And if you guys have made it this far, you guys will have unlocked the Shattered Veil Complete Early calling card. From the time of this video uploading, you have roughly 4 days to get it done. Again, sorry that it was late, but at the time, my Elgato just decided I'm not going to work, and then started freezing, started freaking out, and just would not even detect on my computer. But if you guys don't get that one, you guys will still be able to obtain the other one if I can somehow find it in here. I think it's pretty far down. Maybe up a little bit. There it is. You will end up getting that one. But I hope this video was helpful, and if it was, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. But until then, I will see you guys in the next one. Until then, see ya!